No one expected trouble on that quiet Tuesday afternoon. The sun was warm, the streets were calm, and 14-year-old Maya Carter, smart, confident, and always smiling, sat in her wheelchair beside the living room window, finishing her science homework. Her mother was working a double shift at the hospital, and Maya, independent and responsible, was used to taking care of herself for a few hours. But at 4:17 p.m., everything changed. A loud, forceful knock slammed against the front door, so loud that Maya nearly dropped her pencil. This wasn't the polite tap of a neighbor or the playful knock of a delivery driver. This was sharp, aggressive, wrong. Her heart quickened as she rolled toward the door and peeked through the side window. A police officer stood on the porch. But something was off. He wasn't calm like the officers Maya saw at school events. His shoulders were tense, his breathing heavy, and his eyes darted around like he was running from something or hiding something. His uniform was slightly messy, his badge crooked, and his hand tapped nervously against his belt. A shiver ran down Maya's spine. "Open the door," he barked, not even waiting to greet her. Maya swallowed hard. "My mom isn't home." Is everything okay?" she asked, trying to sound brave. Her voice trembled anyway. The officer didn't reply. Instead, he tried the doorknob. Maya's breath caught. Then, without permission, he shoved the door open and stepped inside, boots hitting the floor with a cold finality that echoed through the small home. Maya froze in her chair, stunned. "Sir, why you can't come in here? My mom isn't." "Be quiet," he snapped, shutting the door behind him with a heavy thud. The room felt smaller, locked in, silent except for Maya's shaky breathing and the officer's uneven steps. Right then, Maya realized this wasn't normal police business. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. She forced herself to stay calm, remembering everything her mom taught her about emergencies. Stay alert. Think clearly. Look for a way out. The officer kept pacing, mumbling under his breath. Maya noticed sweat dripping down his forehead, his hands trembling slightly. If she looked past her fear, it almost seemed like he was scared too. What was he running from? Why choose her house? Maya slowly backed her wheelchair toward the hallway, trying not to draw attention. Her phone was in the kitchen, too far. The landline was behind the officer. Every escape point seemed blocked. But Maya was smart, and when she was scared, she got even smarter. "Sir," she said gently, keeping her voice steady. "Do you need help? Are you hurt?" For a moment, the officer's eyes flickered with confusion, like he didn't expect kindness. But then he shook his head violently, snapping back into panic mode. "Just stay there," he ordered, stepping toward the window and peeking outside as if someone was chasing him. Maya's mind raced. If the officer was in trouble, she needed to figure out from what. If he was dangerous, she needed to protect herself. Her heart pounded as she made a silent promise. Find a way to stay safe. Find a way to stop this. Find a way out. The real danger was only just beginning. Maya kept her cool. She had always been brave. Her mother told her she carried a kind of strength that didn't need legs to stand tall. Even now, with danger inches away, she forced herself to breathe slowly and think clearly. The officer paced the living room, eyes darting toward the windows as if the shadows outside were alive. His uniform creaked with each frantic movement. He wiped his forehead, muttering to himself as he adjusted the radio on his shoulder. The static crackled, but he never pressed the call button. He never asked for backup. He didn't even try. That made Maya more afraid than anything. "What do you want?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. Fear could never help, but information could. He froze, swallowing hard. "Someone's after me," he whispered, voice shaky. I need a place to stay for a few minutes." Maya stared at him, disbelief tightening her chest. "You force your way into a child's home because you're scared?" His jaw clenched, eyes flashing with frustration. "You don't understand," he snapped. "I made a mistake during an arrest. Things got rough. Now the suspect's brothers are looking for me. I just need to hide, okay?" Maya's fear shifted like a slow-turning wheel. He wasn't there to hurt her. He was hiding from consequences. But that didn't make her safe. A panicking adult, even one wearing a badge, could be unpredictable, emotional, dangerous without meaning to be. She needed to stay calm. Smart. Alert. While he paced, Maya slid her phone on her lap under the table, shielding it with her arm. Her fingers moved quickly but silently. She didn't dare dial emergency services. He would hear the beeping instantly. So she did the next smartest thing. She opened the voice recorder. If anything happened, at least the truth would be captured. She hit record without looking down. "Sir," she said firmly, "you need to leave. You can't stay here. This isn't safe for me." He turned sharply, the sudden movement slicing the air. "You don't tell me what to do." Maya's heartbeat jolted, not from the words, but from the tone behind them. It wasn't anger, it was fear mixed with desperation, a combination that could explode at any second. She tightened her grip on the chair armrests. "My mom will be home soon," she lied smoothly. "If she finds someone inside the house." "I just need time," he interrupted. His voice cracked, revealing the truth. "They followed me halfway down Maple Street. I saw their car circle twice. If I go back outside now, I'm dead." He wasn't thinking clearly. His fear controlled him, and Maya realized something crucial. He was treating her house like a bunker, but she needed to turn it into an escape route. "Listen," she said softly, choosing every word with care. "You're not safe in here either. If those men saw you come inside, they'll come to the door. I can't protect you. I am 14. His eyes flicked toward the window. He hesitated. That hesitation was chance. A small one, but Maya knew she had to use it. Her fingers slid along the side of her wheelchair armrest until she felt the familiar shape of her phone. The voice recorder was still running. Good. She would need proof if things got worse or if help finally arrived. The officer took another step, breathing uneven. Maya steadied herself. She wasn't going to panic. She wasn't going to break. She was going to find a way out, no matter how dangerous things became next. Minutes crawled by with painful slowness. The ticking clock on the wall seemed louder than usual, filling the silence between the officer's frantic footsteps. He kept peeking through the curtains, breathing unevenly, pacing like a cornered animal searching for a way out. Every few seconds, he muttered something under his breath, words Maya couldn't catch, but the fear in them was impossible to ignore. Maya watched him carefully, analyzing every detail. She wasn't just scared. She was thinking, calculating, waiting. Then, she noticed something important. His badge number. His name tag, Daniels. And the scrape along the side of his uniform, a smudged tear like he had been dragged or shoved during a struggle. Maya had always been observant. It was her quiet superpower. While others overlooked small things, she noticed everything. "Officer Daniels," she said softly, voice steady despite the fear rattling in her chest. "You're scared, but you know what you're doing is wrong." He paused mid-pace. His shoulders fell slowly, as if her words hit a place he'd been trying to ignore. With a tired sigh, he sank into the nearest chair, rubbing his forehead with both hands. "I know," he admitted. "I didn't mean to storm in like that. I panicked. They were chasing me, and I just reacted." "That doesn't make it okay," Maya replied gently but firmly. "Especially not to someone like me, alone, disabled, and just trying to stay safe." Her honesty was sharp, clear, and impossible to dodge. It cut through the haze of his fear. Daniel's expression softened, guilt replacing his panic for a moment. He looked at her not like a threat, but like a child he had terrified without meaning to. "You're right," he whispered. "I'm sorry." And in that tiny emotional opening, Maya saw her chance. Her thumb slid across her phone screen, hidden beneath her blanket. With precise movements, she tapped the emergency contact button. Not 911, not the police station. Mr. Johnson, her neighbor, a retired firefighter. Strong, fast, trustworthy, and home almost every afternoon. "Please pick up," she begged silently. "Please, please pick up." The phone stayed silent, going to the background as it rang discreetly. But before anything could happen, a loud engine roared outside, tearing through the calm neighborhood like a warning siren. Maya jolted. Footsteps thundered up the street. Voices shouting orders. Car doors slamming. Daniels went completely still. The color drained from his face. He turned toward the window with hollow eyes. "They found me," he whispered, barely more than breath. Maya's stomach twisted. This was no longer just fear. It was real danger closing in. The footsteps grew louder, fast and aggressive, stopping right outside the house. Daniel's hand shook as he reached for his belt. Not the weapon, but his radio. Static crackled loudly. Maya gripped the wheelchair armrests. Her mind raced. Her neighbors still hadn't answered. The men outside were getting closer. And now, she wasn't sure who was more dangerous. The people outside, or the terrified officer trapped inside with her. The next seconds would decide everything. The officer jolted upright, panic rushing over his face as the shouts outside grew louder. He looked toward the front door, then back at Maya, breathing hard. "I'm staying here," he blurted. "If they think I'm inside with someone, they won't break in. They wouldn't risk hurting a civilian." Maya's eyes widened, her heartbeat slamming against her ribs. "You're putting me in danger," she exclaimed. "You can't use a kid as a shield." Before he could respond, a deep voice thundered from outside the door. "Maya, are you okay?" Her entire chest flooded with relief. Mr. Johnson, her neighbor, her emergency contact, her backup. Daniel stiffened instantly. "Who's that?" he demanded, voice tight. "My neighbor," Maya answered boldly, knowing she finally had power in this situation. "And he knows something is wrong." More footsteps approached. More voices. The entire street was alert and watching. Daniels looked from the window to Maya. And for the first time since he barged into the house, something shifted in his expression. Something raw, uncomfortable. A realization. Then came the real police sirens. Loud, sharp, official, cutting through the chaos like a warning bell. The sound grew louder, closer, until 4 patrol cars pulled up in front of the house. The neighborhood watched from porches and driveways, whispering nervously. Daniels froze. He had 2 options now, and both were written clearly across his panicked eyes. Keep hiding and drag an innocent girl deeper into his mistake. Or face the consequences of everything he had done. Asterisk, asterisk. His chest rose and fell as he looked at Maya. She didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She simply held his gaze, firm and fearless. "You know this isn't right," she told him, voice steady and mature beyond her years. Daniel swallowed. His shoulders dropped. For the first time since entering the house, he looked genuinely ashamed. Outside, Mr. Johnson was talking loudly to the arriving officers, pointing toward Maya's home. "Her mother's at work. She's in there alone. Something's wrong. Check the house." More officers hurried forward. Daniels closed his eyes. "You're right," he finally murmured, lifting both hands slowly in surrender. "I shouldn't be here. I'll face it." He stepped away from Maya, walked to the door, and stood there quietly, waiting. When the officers entered, Daniels didn't fight, didn't argue, didn't make excuses. He simply turned, placed his hands behind his back, and let them cuff him. "I forced my way in," he admitted openly. "I panicked. I hid in this girl's home. I crossed every line." Maya watched in silence, her chest tight, but steady. She felt small, but she also felt powerful, like her voice and her courage had actually mattered. A supervising sergeant approached her gently. He crouched down so he was eye level with her. "You did the right thing today," he said softly. "You stayed calm, you protected yourself, and you spoke up when it mattered. That takes bravery far beyond your age." Maya nodded, finally exhaling the breath she'd been holding. The danger had ended, but her courage, that would be remembered far longer than anything that happened that day. News of what happened at Maya Carter's home spread quickly through the community and then beyond. The story of a 14-year-old black girl, confined to a wheelchair, who had stayed calm under pressure, protected herself, and held a panicked officer accountable, captured everyone's attention. People couldn't believe the courage of a girl so young, facing a situation most adults would struggle with. Social media buzzed with admiration. Local newspapers ran front-page stories, highlighting Maya's bravery, her intelligence, and the way she handled danger with clarity and presence of mind. Television stations interviewed neighbors who had watched the unfolding events with wide eyes, describing how a young girl had become the unexpected hero of the day. Everyone wanted to know, how could someone so small, so young, be so remarkably strong? Her community rallied around her. Friends, neighbors, and local leaders sent flowers, letters of appreciation, and gifts. People offered words of encouragement, praise, and admiration. Maya's story became an inspiration for teachers, students, and families alike. The city recognized her courage formally. She received a bravery award at a ceremony attended by hundreds of people, including police officers, city officials, and community leaders. Cameras flashed as she rolled onto the stage, her wheelchair a silent testament to her perseverance, her face calm and determined. But what truly changed her life wasn't the award, the applause, or even the public recognition. It was what came next. The police chief took the microphone after presenting her with the medal. With sincerity in his eyes, he publicly apologized to Maya for the incident. He acknowledged the mistakes made by Officer Daniels and promised meaningful reforms. Better crisis handling, more thorough training in community respect, and policies to ensure officers would never put civilians, especially children, in danger again. Maya listened quietly, feeling the weight of her actions ripple through the room. Her bravery had sparked accountability, change, and hope. When it was her turn, Maya wheeled herself to the microphone. Her voice, clear and steady, cut through the murmurs in the crowd. "Strength isn't about how fast you can run or how hard you can fight," she said. "It's about doing the right thing, even when you're scared." The room fell silent. Not a whisper, not a cough, only the sound of admiration and reflection. Every person in that room felt the power of her words, the truth in her courage. From that day on, Maya wasn't just a girl in a wheelchair anymore. She became a symbol of courage, justice, and the power of speaking up. Teachers used her story in classrooms to teach resilience.